think it's okay.
Please, do you feel comfortable?
Yes.
Okay. What do you check?
But if it's a live program, when it's 2 o'clock and you are not on it, what happens? You are playing music.
Get ready for Ghana's ever first syndicated radio show. Introducing Ghana Rising.
There's a growing number of Ghanaians eager to know why government takes certain decisions. Many more want to know what government is doing with the people's mandate and resources. Ghanaians want to know if we are developing or stagnating as a people. The consolidation of our democracy hinges on transparency and accountability.
Ghana Rising premieres on 4th October 2023 and shows this and every Wednesday on ABC News G8.
I'll be demanding accountability and transparency from the people entrusted with our power. My name is Gordon Asari Bediako and I'll be hosting Ghana Rising.
Broadcasting across over 20 radio stations across the nation.
Ghana Rising. Transparency, accountability, reloaded.
Well, it's 11 minutes past 2 o'clock according to my watch, and we're the offices of Ghana Revenue Authority, and we're going to have a conversation with the man who has a child to deliver 109 billion Ghana cedis to the finance minister by close of December 2023. So we're going to have a conversation today with him, and for him to deliver that amount of money to the finance minister, I think it's incumbent on all of us to exercise our responsibilities and know what we have to do as citizens. That is why we are here, and we are live on Ghana Rising. My name is Gordon Asari Bediako. We are also live on about 25 radio stations across the country, including Kechi FM, Nkomo FM, Salt, Okoli, Ashnepa, German Radio, Kingdom FM, Glory, Virgin City Radio, Achemasa Radio, Kan Radio, Subampa, Duapa, VOV, Sisala, Afima Radio, Bosom, and then Heritage Radio, and also on television, Ghana News. Alright, my name is Gordon Asari Bediako once again. Commissioner General, this is the first time I'm meeting you face to face like this. I always see you on television. Wow, you look very young.
Maybe older than I look.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the Commissioner General of GRA, Reverend Dr. Amishada Usu Amwa. We are going to have a conversation, at least 1 hour, to know what we have to do, our rights, and then what we are using our taxes for, if it is his mandate to explain to us what we have to use our taxes for. That's why we would have a conversation. Because of what they can say, and the other BD has seen ma, GRA and the BD and come on, every hour to them, and will come. They use out the name of Buffalo, but maybe I to me that's me the name free. A baby, but me do airport. Yes, I said, we'll call and need 2 years. And said, yeah, I said, you can see, we the television, crumple ever. Next year, Jerry for say, baby, and never be brave or more. It took this one, I can say, hey, now Jerry for so much, you will revenue target. Now, revenue target on my achieve, no, and the other about passing a home, scanning home. It's in the baby and common and Yashi. Me really, baby, Miss Evan is the same good year. Yes, taxes, no. Who has always Tamsika, Nadia, Obit Mayan online inside the Manamina at our own convenience. It's in a baby and Kobo.
Okay, that's Papa.
I had a book partners and bear for Anna.
Yeah, and of course I'm saying, yeah, office in I was here because say Jumana can see now office no so I get to Amaye send you see by a tea and can do I be room kakra so kakra so ba ha bozi and boardroom kutabako and I be all packing so which in bread nti eguso yɛ mo adwuma na yɛbɛhwɛ sɛ na yɛbɛyɛ na bit my improve the situation.
Now is it the modesty of GRA na mo pesa mo bɛyɛ kɛse ana say because honestly speaking mo na mo this come on mind no ɛsɛ mo nya baabi a mo bɛtɔ mo but I say ana me boa
oh say this come on mind there nanso no or say you make sure say sika no baabi a nneɛma hia na yɛde akɔ hɔ na fe so no say ade na enyi kɔ na fe na wohwɛ sɛ na wobetumi expand wo facility wobetumi ama but the same kind of yeah, share your qualification between ma sa your environment no I improve. To make sure say be a bedi a fini fine chip baba na bia na environment no I improve.
Well,
eguso.
Okay, congratulations. Jerry Mudin said that yet the system. She said for my bass so was size of winty. May so taxi will be a pet taxi here. Yes, no, be a no pet taxi here, or let's say be a enforcement no air coso. What is the mandate of GRA?
Okay, look at some work and Sunny Alcasa, Miss of we have say we hear about Mukra, if you are saying, yeah, say sometimes you can say, Ubiko Jambio Bompire, yes, your Bompire cancer, and you see a 2G phones by and it's almost like our media. You tell me I said 2G for there. But I think that's it depends on the understanding of the role of taxes in a nation. And I think that one of the things that you talk about say yeah, tax and buy it me to say on mine. And that was a tax for our development. Now Yambuta ya is yours they say on me when Mrahua Yashe. Sine be a bit digital. Now to one abwayen as a country. Now it me be your roots, it me be friends say hospitals, electricity, water, civil servants I say for can hospital once a morning, hospital no ni aka ho yesi ni nyina ye tu a ye bejeje ene ni an betumi atu na ye me hyeba ni wi a giari ye asudi ye da ye so no ene say to effectively collect all these revenues and ensure that there is sufficient revenue in the kitties of the government to be able to execute all these projects. So we are more or less like an implementing agency, an execution agency. That is make sure that the various policies, the various laws that have been put in place, we have ways of ensuring that we have an effective tax administration system to collect the taxes and ensure that we have money for the development of the country.
Very well. So in November last year, when the finance minister was delivering the budget statement in Parliament, I think he said that the GRA's tax revenue target was around 106 billion Ghana cedis, and along the line, it was reviewed upwards to 109 billion Ghana cedis. Does it mean more taxes are coming, or does it mean you are supposed to widen your scope and then rake in more taxes?
Yeah, I think before you almost set a target at the beginning of the year, they will look at a number of factors to be able to set the target. They will look at the growth of the country in terms of the GDP growth expected. They will look at then they will look at some opportunities that are previously not been taken. We haven't taken advantage of.
Okay.
And therefore they will say that okay, if you look at this area, I think you could do more here. And the committee, the Ghana Revenue Authority, Statistical Service, Ministry of Finance, and other such agencies. And then they meet and they look at all these variables, and then they'll come out and say, looking at the government's needs and also the potential, we think that this is the target that GRA should be able to deliver.
Okay.
Again, they will not want to also set a target that is unachievable. Now, I feel because target of best, that is what will also determine the projects now all year.
Yeah.
And if you consider targets you and your children focus, mayor school, mayor Disney fees,
I can't say
it is all balance.
Yes.
And normally when they do that, they make sure that they have quite a stretching target. Because Oshe target last year, AGG is 75, I mean, 2022.
Yes.
AGG is 75 billion. Now, I see AGG 72 billion. Intelligence we are bro near AGG by 73 billion. If you share 75 billion, now would the bar target my 106 now.
It's a so power up about 40%. Yeah.
And recently we call conference before saying Rwanda now all the tax heads of various countries of Africa and Asia. Now here kasa be on target, be on target, and increase. Now, because any increase, I expect 40%. Everyone wants
a cost road.
I feel back when I saw increase by 40%. I'm saying because he is can.
Okay.
And government shares nowadays to 106 billion. By the time we got to the middle of the year, and then doing the engagement with the IMF, and what we expect that we should be able to start gathering, because almost all expectation. Say, your mom is care yourself to say beer, which me agitate. And you almost share, and if you almost share, there be a young so yet me a duka crano at the time of year, you know. Almost so was it me to draw a chance and yajino. And then I'm almost 2 free 106 and you call 109.
Yeah.
A very stretching there. And so you're more the may fast opportunity so my answer be a more the answer ordinary ever count in fact you intimate to for this year say all hands on deck.
All hands on deck. Okay.
Yeah, it's a see a be our opportunity be so also and sana those who also have to contribute. I say we have to make sure we are paying the right tax. Then we'll be able to achieve the 109 billion.
Okay. All hands on deck, fine. But do you know the number of hands that are supposed to be on deck? Because see bas when you come baby na ya see piano for say member 5 the woman kana ye piano I say who said member 5 bi ensa na piano yen yenim nipa dodo a was a tax net no kobo bam na komutimi etua because me gidi say bia mo so at the end of the year no mo hwe who say we had this category of people that we're supposed to collect taxes from them but we couldn't reach all of them. Do you have something like that?
Yes, we do have.
Okay.
In terms of with the taxes now, very different types.
Yes.
So your corporate income tax, your PY and as a person, your friends say, Juma
buying
for and as a buying any private enterprise in Ano, I cheer and cabo some pay as you earn and PY. And your war almost why your phones are non form and as a more you might say also soon, I was income be on Benya. Okay, you know, from our be on a maybe no income be obedience be and also to your tax. Monsieur Henry Fire can say personal income tax. And Sanya, what to say a VAT. I know near order to two near my year so now will be different types in Biano. We have the expectation as to how many people should be in that area. It is to say, we should say, personal income tax for a PY, if no personal PY for now. Yes, we say, be a new person 15 million, also to me, a my account in terms of PAY for no. And there is also no, so maybe filing a year, one my employers never filing on their behalf, no matter TFE, I got you, but the rich Ukraino, we have been Parkasa. Or something, as I say, filing and tax.
Yes.
They are filing. Then, where there are other sources of income, is also added to your income to determine what additional taxes that you have to pay.
Okay.
As we speak today, you know, you do what I say, will be a filing. You want to say, in fact, you share a finance here by April. One filing, I'm making a similar into your car. Because we want everybody to file. Never say and set example. And we want to encourage say Ghana for more than filing. And coming back to your question in terms of the numbers, you are talking about over 30 million population. You encourage 30 million population, only on 5 times because Oma below 18 years, your Oma be Oma bro, friends 17 years, and also genuine Yana, but make us aware them too because we have a DAT so car.
We're consultant.
Thank you.
Consultant.
You, it almost the various types, but you know, even though we have about a database of all my church here, you know, more of was about 15 million. One my currently in your database almost about 6 million.
About 6 million.
But that is for the POI from Masami Kayano. Offer to say VAT here, VAT currently on our database, you're roughly about 45,000. 45,000, okay, more. Best 600 or 45,000, on my best 60% of the VAT revenue. And then another 2,000 will give us another 20%. And then so we might be better 3,000 of the 45,000 una. But apart from the 45,000, there are so many more who are not registered. I'll be nice to now I'll give you an example. Recently we introduced a system where we said if we import in Yama, you must register for VAT. We will require you to immediately come and register, and then we also charge you 12% upfront on the Niamana where you importing, because
if you find an importer. Okay.
Because what was happening was that there are people who are importing, and then they are not VAT registered.
Okay.
So when they send their goods there, they end up selling them and then not charging VAT. So then they create inequality, because there are other people who have manufactured here and they are paying VAT.
Okay.
And because they say what we have done is that, and so I'll talk about this very soon. They are linking your domestic system to your custom system.
Okay.
So the two systems are talking to each other. It is a who register for VAT. Now we import in Yamapa. I come to Nimuno. It will detect say, Gideon. All the Niama say, and so when you VAT registered, and how can Niama continue now? They are banana. And yet it is already what kind of
in the market will be back. Yeah, I was in domestic use.
Domestic, it will be importer. Okay. Importer now 20 amounts now registered.
Okay.
For those ones, what we agreed was that immediately now anyone out buy we pay a 12% VAT.
Okay.
Number two, we register as VAT registered taxpayer and sign our clear Ugusu.
Wow.
You're starting in June.
No, Chief, you be sure what BCC.
Okay.
So you be sure what BCC, and I'm more fancy me say, and na me suit the bear me, you know, as a mess, I blue, and now Commissioner General to see blue tea. And yes, and you're more who tell me no Commissioner General, you see blue.
I my phobia. I know you meet you. So Commissioner General, I don't send him mobilization blue.
So I will have a God now, Sabrina, we're gonna rise. You sure what BCC I'm on Jay.
Get ready for Ghana's ever first syndicated radio show. Introducing Ghana Rising.
There's a growing number of Ghanaians eager to know why government takes certain decisions. Many more want to know what government is doing with the people's mandate and resources. Ghanaians want to know if we are developing or stagnating as a people. The consolidation of our democracy hinges on transparency and accountability.
Ghana Rising premieres on 4th October 2023 and shows this and every Wednesday on ABC News GH.
I'll be demanding accountability and transparency from the people entrusted with our power. My name is Gordon Nasar Bediako, and I'll be hosting Ghana Rising,
broadcasting across over 20 radio stations across the nation.
Ghana Rising, transparency, accountability, reloaded.
Get ready for Ghana's ever first syndicated radio show. Introducing Ghana Rising.
There's a growing number of Ghanaians eager to know why government takes certain decisions. Many more want to know what government is doing with the people's mandate and resources. Ghanaians want to know if we are developing or stagnating as a people. The consolidation of our democracy hinges on transparency and accountability.
Ghana Rising premieres on 4th October 2023 and shows this and every Wednesday on ABC News GH.
I'll be demanding accountability and transparency from the people entrusted with our power. My name is Gordon Nasar Bediako, and I'll be hosting Ghana Rising,
broadcasting across over 20 radio stations across the nation.
Ghana Rising, transparency, accountability, reloaded.
Get ready for Ghana's ever first syndicated radio show. Introducing Ghana Rising.
There's a growing number of Ghanaians eager to know why government takes certain decisions. Many more want to know what government is doing with the people's mandate and resources. Ghanaians want to know if we are developing or stagnating as a people. The consolidation of our democracy hinges on transparency and accountability.
Ghana Rising premieres on 4th October 2023 and shows this and every Wednesday on ABC News G8.
I'll be demanding accountability and transparency from the people entrusted with our power. My name is Gordon Nasar Bediako, and I'll be hosting Ghana Rising,
broadcasting across over 20 radio stations across the nation.
Ghana Rising, transparency, accountability, reloaded.
Get ready for Ghana's ever first syndicated radio show. Introducing Ghana Rising.
There's a growing number of Ghanaians eager to know why government takes certain decisions. Many more want to know what government is doing with the people's mandate and resources. Ghanaians want to know if we are developing or stagnating as a people. The consolidation of our democracy hinges on transparency and accountability.
Ghana Rising premieres on 4th October 2023 and shows this and every Wednesday on ABC News G8.
I'll be
Welcome back. Welcome back. This is Ghana Rising, and you are on ABC News GH as well as on various radio stations across the country. We are having a conversation with the Commissioner General of GRA, and then you can catch the conversation through WhatsApp on 055 55 12971. 055 55 12971. Obviously, send the message at Babacho. So, man, can create a very decent one so that we can have a decent conversation here with the Commissioner General. Before I hear Commissioner, now what can be before V8? Now, one example, be said last book will be batch of trust of your mind. Yes. Yes. Wow. And then pay it again, or?
Then we will also come and do an audit on your past.
Hey!
Do you understand me? To see to what extent have you been
Doing that.
We started in June.
Okay, June this year.
June this year. By September ending, the amount that we have collected was 180 million Ghana cedis just
Wow.
on these people. And the total number of importers who had registered as VAT taxpayers was 4,600 in June, July, August, September, in 4 months. And these are people who are importing.
See, but in fact, mommy figures
You. So, like I said, no, you no importing your man, registered. Like I said, if you put the money by immediately, the money by now.
We have
You have
12%. Okay.
12%. In Nipa, within 4 months, now I did 118 million Ghana cedis.
Wow.
And the number of importers who previously until now were not registered for VAT,
But
they
were
import
importing
and selling, that came to register was 4,600.
individuals.
Yes. So who has enterprise, who has
Okay.
but at least he's in business. And I'm not talking about people who have brought in a couple of items. That in fact there were a few things like that, but those ones we were able to come and prove that you are not, or maybe you are just a one-off something. But for those who were actually importers and who are in business, that was the limit. So what I'm saying is that there is the opportunity for us to add more.
Okay.
And what we are trying to do is what we call, and I'll explain it later more, compliance by design.
Compliant by design.
Such that as you go through your life system, something should prompt you or something to push you to come and then register. They say, we say, for example, Nanka first now ICAM system and I say a custom system linked to domestic. Or the bar, who say, or your VAT register, not your VAT register.
And also work.
Not so. But I say, your papa system, and I say, your VAT register or your VAT. If recently, any very good motivational speaker, very prominent for maybe any and I can say, the task office friend. No, I see you so for that's the tax office name, so. And they also important in your sir.
Hey,
no, say, who are those? Now, who say,
what important in my
it was he was pleasantly surprised to say your system no is such that so we import to her it me clicking my friend so I said I now also your software now what important in
oh okay
and I'll check which and say oh the books be a watch and printing or hunting and or the other it's a question ampa say only as
okay
but on can all boy a man say so who said to say your baby system never do it me these are some of the methods that we are using to make sure that more people will talk more about it.
Yes. And you were also talking about the informal sector. Radio conversation actually be boys start say mandate accountability and transparency from the people entrusted with our power. My name is Gordon Nasar Bidiako and I'll be hosting Ghana Rising.
Broadcasting across over 20 radio stations across the nation.
Ghana Rising. Transparency, accountability, reloaded.
And then getting them to file and also pay. And it's yielding results. That's one of the things that we are doing. Number two, we are doing what we call data matching.
Okay.
So say, domestic system, they are connected. In fact, any ECG4, I connected. You could finalize a system. Any DVL for the connected. You could finalize the system. It is say, for example, say, put the car back. Now to say, be a video, or a car. A car no cost to say 1 million.
And Jordan a bit in me. Executive producer.
Like the car no cost to say be 1 million Ghana cedis. But a better reflect to a system.
Okay.
Get a check income tax out here. You had a first George. Income tax out here 1,000 cedis. So it was already a car, a cost of 1 million. Everybody saying, do you think there's a BS if you have any size can on Yano? Yes, you check out 1,000 near the Abeshimu. We can reach out to you as well. So that's also another measure.
This point that you just read, one day we will come back here for this very conversation because somebody told me that GRA can actually go all out to help the government fight corruption based on the example that you just cited. That Mema Kotoka, what has already happened, obey me some salary, let's see this amount. Yeah, winning. Then Makoto car with my register car no, me car no kwa for 70,000. The car is also worth 120,000 now 200,000. I have to be asked that question, but that will come back one day to have that conversation. Or let's want to.
No, I can comment on it.
Okay.
We have a unit.
Okay.
That we call, and people who might not know, we have a unit that is called the anti-money laundering unit.
Anti-money laundering.
Yes. Which is basically what normally the banks will look at.
Okay.
Which is trying to look at people who are getting money that they cannot explain. So, for example, if the case is outside here, I'm not say about what tax, but say about now when to me and say, you can fear and I say, then we refer to the anti-money laundering unit.
Okay.
And they try to fight. Recently there was a case. Obia or house help.
Okay.
Na tracking
The Japanese.
It was a Japanese engineer house help Japanese.
With the house owner Japanese and the house help.
And we were able to trace and then eventually when she came up, she actually confessed. She said, me, I'm not in general cash, Omia account, no.
No fun to man.
No, this kind of man with the account.
Wow.
What you say? And we were able to now, so in that case, we are checking the anti-money laundering and also checking the tax invasion.
Okay.
So that opportunity is there. And there's something that, even though you're launching, and I can use the opportunity to tell you,
yes, please.
we in all over the world, the OECD, what they call the exchange of information. And what happens is that we have a treaty with a number of countries, in fact over 190 something countries, where they can request from us to give them information about any taxpayer resident in their country, and we can also request from them on any information about any taxpayer residents in our country.
Yes.
And what we're doing and what the most countries do is what you call the exchange of information on request.
On request.
On request, you say, who has a DAB? And I'm saying, I'm sending information on SMSC.
Okay.
That's on request. Now, they also allow what you call automatic exchange of information.
Okay.
I know they are, which are going to go bisa. On more of your country, no more. Now, Nipa country, no more, on my accounts, all the 190 countries, no, who are picking, you know, are populated abroad. I know you automatic exchange of information.
Ukromo for bank accounts,
exactly.
Okay.
And they are picking not from one country, they are picking from 190 countries.
Yes.
And you are required to meet some technology and efficiency and security measures in your tax administration for you to qualify to be able to receive that automatically.
Oh, okay.
In Africa, we are the 5th country in Africa who has been able to satisfy the requirements.
Really?
Yes. In fact, among all the tax authorities in Africa, about 52 tax authorities in Africa, we are the 5th country which has done all the things, and then the OECD people came here, they inspected all our things and said, oh, you are able to improve on all your things to qualify. So we have started receiving the data. And we will be launching what we call Voluntary Disclosure Program.
Voluntary Disclosure Program.
VDP, that's what we call it, Voluntary Disclosure Program. What do I mean by that? We are going to tell all Ghanaians that we have a database of every resident who has account operation in these countries.
Wow.
And it's only so will be a Rebecca Trey.
So accounts are Wahani.
Now, it's kind of if you say, and if you say, na me tax size can be any. This is about 6 months of that. With that time, we do come and declare, and we do the tax, and you pay. We are not going back.
Okay.
We only do what you declare, and we'll go forward.
Okay.
After the voluntary disclosure program of 6 months, so one ma, if you are back, now say you know, be engaged in ampa tax and sank out here from Scana Winya or Podmana. We'll go back to 4 years, 3 years as to when the money started coming. And see, some make us say, I have paper, I have documents in and before I will launch the voluntary disclosure program.
Wow.
What is to bring us is the fact that one, there may be some of the people who are already paying, but they're only paying on the income that they are declaring here, and not the income that they are declaring or receiving to other places.
Okay.
So that is the deepening of the tax. There are some too who are also not paying at all, but who are also doing its business out there. So that one also be the widening. So there's the widening and the deepening.
I saw a signal from somebody before we came on that we are widening and then deepening.
Yes.
So the takeaway is that if you're a Ghanaian and then you have accounts elsewhere beyond Ghana, the DRA is going to get all the accounts.
But we have started receiving them. As I speak to you, yes, we have received for 3 months already because we qualified in April this year and we started receiving from June. say we are launching NASA. Na fi ya ma kwa ya wese.
Look, if you don't pay revenue and motion, but it also comes some corruption.
Because listen, for us to be only the fifth country, I can't what me are satisfied all the requirements. You have to be able to get it, and the countries that you are getting them from, is the reason why they are doing that is because you also can send to them.
Yes.
You see, for example, if you are resident in say Georgia and you are resident in say China, in fact, the countries who are members, then we cannot. If they have their residence here, we also have to send to them automatically. But because of their confidentiality, because that's why they want to make sure that our systems, and your processes are tight. In so balance of the inspection, now he's not satisfied that they won't allow you to receive automatically. You can only receive on request. That one is like you come to me specifically and say, I want this particular one. Then you look at it and give it to you. And then he knows that he has given you this particular one, so he can track you.
Because you realize that your systems are not that watertight enough. Understand that when you get the information, and I say, Asana, and I was a for Patrol, Commissioner General Jerry, and I, and any ADM common, Reverend Dr. Mr. Dye, and then it is in my AD corner. A year taxes home and combo, Jerry for a crap. And my bomb who buying, yes, set up Jerry and whom come any AD. Anywhere wash me, Miss Ametes in the more, a taxes, a tax obligations, a Jumaya, Quacoba Faso, a taxes in Minano. And because ye school dine, ye can acquire a taxes ya, and ye bid a home. Still on widening tax net, no, and then deepening it, no. Maka, for sure more payslip, so I am we see warm. Omuyamusi warm. Dreadful bills so hard, almost because, eh. I said, ma, a Dawson, they say, they still think that there are a lot of people outside the tax net now. I was a more rupee in them. Do you have the capacity and the personnel? Yeah, I'm bit more rupee in them. And I said,
yeah, we do have the personnel. We do have the capacity. But you made some mention of something earlier on in terms of the technology.
Yes.
We think a lot of the things in the they are not technology, So I'll give you some examples. Recently, this year, last year 2022, we started looking at those who are doing the internet, e-commerce,
yes,
and doing the online trading. As at the time in April 2022, most of the e-commerce platforms were not paying any taxes, both resident and non-resident. So what we did was to create a platform, and the platform requires that you register on the platform. And then once you register on the platform, we also linked up to the Bank of Ghana, where they also have a platform for what we call the payment platforms.
Yes.
So most of these e-commerce people transact through the payment platforms. As I speak today, between April 2022 and today, we have 500 e-commerce trading platforms registered on our platform.
I see.
Nancy was a buha so me transaction buha. I say there's VAT because Ghana for I put it on the 3 VAT. And out of this, 377 are residents, for instance, e-commerce trading, and then 170 something are foreign ones. And we include foreign organizations and things like that. And between April 2022 up to today, we have collected over 467 million from the e-commerce platform. So back to your question, what has happened? We have been able to bring the e-commerce business, which hitherto were not paid onto the tax bracket. Now we also introduced something that we call the electronic tax clearance certificate. And you see, even though you see it as a tax clearance certificate, it helps to widen the tax. Because previously what was happening was that people require tax clearance certificate for a lot of things. For example, if you want to tender for okay, procurement. Maybe a small company be also the contact. They say, oh, for tax grant certificate, bra. First, no, now they walk into our office, then they go and talk. Yeah, take paper no. Now, yeah, feel it. Also, yeah, maybe tia. Or to the farmer me. Now, you have no tax grant certificate. Now, okay. What we did last year is that now we have automated it. Until you go into the internet, then you select our portal, then you put your tax identification number there and say, I want a tax grant certificate. The system itself goes through our database. No, share. We file it, or you're up to date. Then the tax grant certificate comes automatically onto your screen, and you print and take it away. And what you have even done is that not only do you print and take it away, if you require it for a tender at say GBC, yes, or at say another ABC news here, with the ABC 4 tin a besheso. Okay. Osaka no na maybe for Osaka. Automatic. Oh. And so when you go there and then people are even doing fake ones. Mm-hmm. They say the fake ones won't be there because we do one. Never hold it out. It would be also new because in say the 4 system no. What the thing just I'll get it automatically. Yeah. So you have to do that. Now when we did that, you will see that there are many more companies that previously were not coming into the tax net. Now they've seen that they can't get the tax grant certificate unless they have paid and filed. And also we have seen the number of filings and the number of payments also increasing. And not only that, we have been done to the sense that we are a USSD code. Exactly. It is only internet now or phone. Now boss *880#. Now what send here? It will ask you for your friend is saying thing. What the thing shemwa? Obaka cho what I say. What comply of tax and some comply of tax. Do you comply you say? Now me person here, which is something that I've used the opportunity. Last year I tried and I'm me into the law I person and we're still working on it. Now I just say you could do parliamentarians be show mama yen. Say e bit me I soon be to say because say the database is am kan no. It's linked to DVLA. It's linked to social security. It's linked to electricity. Nti me pa ba here born say e beti ase. Na yetumi aka say who dialing 880 you can catch or say when you tax compliant and this is your man alliances and this is your renew road ready certificate this is your so it means yes as I did now it means passing the law first man go for can say oh but say me brands and me tax certificate but say I automated so simple ubeka so me face am ko bisa obi ko bisa say whether I'm compliant or compliant. Now you can just do a study. So if you go to DVLA will have the database and you can just check that whether you're compliant or not compliant.
So you see, Ghana, your problem was when the new thing is coming now. Either we resist it or we pretend not to have heard it at all.
Or we don't understand.
Or we don't understand it. And at times, on the part of public institutions especially, they take public education for granted. They think it's what's in office. They say the person policy and parliament pass a act of parliament or whatever into fees and charges straight away you have to comply. Except we know beyond Udibia or Tiakra and as what it was an Takra. How do we make sure say they all get the needed education so that they can comply? You've hit the nail right on the head. It is very important. So these are things that we will continually do education and we'll do a campaign around it for people to understand. Because like you said, rightly said, people are a bit afraid. Yes. It thinks that it will be difficult for you to get it. And therefore, if you put this condition, you are going to frustrate me. But we are trying to make it as easy as possible. And so we are encouraging people that they should also cooperate with us. Okay. You made a point which was very, very true that there's a lot of resistance. Yes. Over here, nobody got to
na ayɛ te sɛ nea ebia yi tax nim na ɔpɛ sɛ osisi no nso na nyɛ sɛ nea ɛteɛ nti ɛsɛ yɛnya saa nti aseɛ na yɛtumi ma no ɛyɛ adwuma and I'm sure with the time we'll get more people on board, and if you get more people on board, my brother, I think that the opportunity for the revenue increase in Ghana is huge, and the needs of the nation is also huge. And if we're able to pull in this, then we'll be able to do a lot of the developments that we are looking at. So we are combining both the technology and the engagement of the people to ensure that we will bring in more people onto the tax bracket.
All right, Commissioner General said you could share one of the now you come back. No two questions be you know the meditating but can you for say could be able use say helicopter or say flight to be or animal man more tax. I feel a brass on the Quabutra, almost all the Quabutra, or more the Wapoma Abuchi school for being a Budakusian, a black came went to what the Quacha. I feel most say this a came to be Tracy Cabinets idea, playing the Momo Mosanka. You come by the Busia, no, but also the 24 say, or more the money about port, no more the cook master tap in the other areas. Now, custom 0 for 24, as I could travel, no more in the Menago. Yakoba to betting 6. Therefore, I had Ghana rising, then the Commissioner General, Yakoba is
Get ready for Ghana's ever first syndicated radio show. Introducing Ghana Rising.
There's a growing number of Ghanaians eager to know why government takes certain decisions. Many more want to know what government is doing with the people's mandate and resources. Ghanaians want to know if
like I said, this time the focus is not only on VAT, but then we are doing total tax compliance, because the tax is not limited to VAT. That's CIT, PAYE, PIT, excise, tax stamp. We are looking at all taxes that are applicable to a particular taxpayer that will visit. So we are not limiting our tax only VAT. That is why when we come to an area, we look around and see taxpayers who qualify to register for one tax type or the other. And I'm telling the public that is how we are going to approach our quest to increase our collection.
Get ready for Ghana's ever first syndicated radio show. Introducing Ghana Rising.
There's a growing number of Ghanaians eager to know why government takes certain decisions. Many more want to know what government is doing with the people's mandate and resources.
All right, welcome back to Ghana Rising. Before we said the message is was it bright or Hennessy Apelkusi? Tell my boss to keep on the good innovative measures he's implementing. Watching live on Facebook. My name is Martin Thompson from Sige. Also, can the Jerry boss respond to the issue that they will be taxing bloggers and influencers? It's one of the things that we're going to have a discussion on. And they will say, my name is Jason, 3rd year student of KNUST. Is it true that Jerry as one make it true? It's about your question, Megusa. It's what can I say? Be chargeable. And now, my name is Wiafia Bigel. I stay in Winnipeg, and I want the Jerry Commissioner to give us an update on the e-levy. Okay, we'll be doing the about e-levy. It's about your what is influences the people be saying at the about we say what the police tell Commissioner General that we are not happy with him at all. We the investors. Now, what kind of investors are? Meaning what you said here. Small betting investors. Opposite, you know, you see, the tax advantage. Opposite, they are not happy with you at all. It's about all. Can you invest it? Let's say.
Okay, you see, I say church I didn't for a TS here. We importing Yama. Normally, with the demand bar, you are supposed to pay import duty.
Yes.
Now, there's something that we call temporary importation. Temporary importation means that a person comes to you and say, I'm bringing the things into this country, or I'm bringing the equipment into this country. I'm going to use for something temporary. Now, we are sign at the accord. In other words, when I finish, I'll send the things back. So when the person does that, then we suspend the taxes, the import duties. So you don't pay. So for example, you have a place where, I don't want to mention this, but it happens a lot. The company that was doing a major construction,
yes.
And then they brought in a lot of construction equipment.
Yes.
They brought in a lot of vehicles, and all these were pickups that they were using for the project. And when they brought it, they said, these are vehicles that we are bringing in just for this project.
Yes.
So don't charge us. It's temporary importation. When we finish, we'll send it back.
Okay.
Let's say, for example, we'll be about a year conference. Now conference no here car be a different between the Saka and the Baha. We have the word Yako. This is also qualified for temporary importation. So this, I'm giving you an example of the company I talked about. We have project I say the things that I brought, which you exempted me because temporary, and then I have to take it back. I don't want to take it back. And so what do you want to do? So I want to sell them, or I want to give it to people here. So then the ones you want to keep it in the country, then you are required to pay the taxes which were not paid, because the agreement was that it's coming to the country temporary, and when I finish, I'll send it back. In this particular case that we are talking about, the KUST one, this is a case where the company has brought in helicopters temporary, that I'm coming to use it for a temporary period, and they brought it in around 2020, and so it has been here for 3 years. And then when they're supposed to go back, for one reason or another, they are not sending the thing back. So we say, okay, if you are not going to send it back, then pay the tax. KUNEC has not imported anything. KUNEC has no liability for a tax because they have not done any importation. But whoever brought the machines is the one who has the liability for the. Now the question is, the person normally or the entity will have to send the things back if he is not going to use it in the country. But if he's going to use it in the country, then he has to pay the duties for it to be able to stay in the country. Now, once the person agrees that you want to stay in the country, the reason why people don't want to send it back is that, one, these helicopters that came in, I don't know how they put it in the aeronautical industry. Now let me put it airworthy.
Yes.
In other words, Ecofly.
Yes.
Now has been used to the point that it's coming
no more airworthy. Like roadworthy.
Yes. And then at that point also, the taxes that were supposed to have been paid are not paid. And so if he has to go back, he has to go back as proper cargo. And there are cost implications of sending the thing back. So the entity doesn't want to send it back. So the entity is required to pay tax. And once he pays the tax, he can do whatever he wants to do with the equipment in the country. I give you examples. Some people like free zones and companies, they are allowed to bring things in on free zones basis. Once they come, if they want to take it off from the free zones, they are required to pay the tax. So KUST has not brought in any equipment. KUST has not imported anything, and they have no liability to pay a tax. But the company that brought in the equipment has a liability to pay the tax.
So 2 quick questions.
Yes.
If they are sending the helicopter back to wherever it came from, is the state going to benefit from it in terms of revenue, taxes? Are they going to pay some taxes to the state when they are sending it back as cargo?
No, once they send it back as cargo, then because the agreement was that they should bring the thing in and on temporary importation, then they don't have to pay anything to the state. But if the state were going to lose revenue if they sent it to
KNUST as gift, then that could be for me a genuine basis for GRA to go after them. But if they are just going to give it to them as a gift and then they still will not lose any revenue, why should GRA be that vociferous in taking the tax?
Let me make it very clear to you. GRA has at no time be engaged by any company, nor KNUST for payment of or exemption for tax.
Yes.
Do you get that thing very clear?
That KNUST is no party to the whole transaction.
Yes, and neither has anybody approached GRA to say that we don't want to pay the tax on this one, because now what is happening is that people will use that opportunity to evade the tax, because number one, the thing came in here, or normally people bring in here for business.
Okay.
And the business, you are exempted from paying the tax on condition that you use it for the period for which you are supposed to use it.
Yes.
And send it back. You have to use it for the business
And send it back.
and you are not sending it back. You have already gained all that you have to gain on the thing. The reason why the person that will not send it back is if he looks at the total cost of sending it back.
He is going to rather lose.
Lose.
Oh, okay.
And therefore he decides that I will not pay the tax, I will send it back, then let me see what other option they have.
But the Commissioner General, so what do we lose? We don't lose anything if we just say, okay, so take it, because if they are taking it, we are not going to gain a peswa. If they give it to KNUST, we are not going to lose a peswa. So why don't we just allow them? Or is it that probably a VC of KNUST hasn't made any approach to GRA? If they make any approach to GRA for,
You see, there's a point I'm making to you that it's not VC of KNUST making an approach.
yes.
Do you understand me? The tax incidents and the tax obligation
It's on the company.
is on a company.
Yes.
And I'll give you other instances. I've seen, in fact, as I speak today, there's a company in court that we are prosecuting because the company brought in an equipment like that, finished the project, and did not send the equipment back, and did not pay the tax as well. Do you understand? And so, once the thing comes in, there's that obligation on the company
Yes.
for the purpose of which the thing was brought in. In fact, I can prove to you that that company did not bring just 2 helicopters.
Okay.
Why has the other ones not gone back?
The rest are still here.
So there are a limit to which we can discuss
Yes, some of these things.
a taxpayer's details
Yes.
on air, because taxpayer information is confidential. So I think that we can leave it here, but let me make it very, very clear that number one,
That's what the law says.
it's not just what the law says. If you bring in goods on temporary importation and you make use of the goods, in fact sometimes it's even for a short period, and you find out that maybe the thing is for 90 days, for 180 days, or let's say for 1 year, and then maybe the company will apply and say for this, and the law allows it for this and this and that, I want to renew it for another time. And then once the thing expires, the requirement is that you either send the equipment out or you pay the duty on the equipment. And the only reason why people would not want to pay the duty on the equipment is sometimes when they realize that the cost of sending the things back is higher than the duty to be paid. And so they also want to use the opportunity to be able to evade the tax by the...
But the okay. So, me na Westlands. Na me fada so ma. Dan kesi wo. Na property rate na go funtia. In fact, I was very happy when early this year local government ministry and other state institutions divided us the process property of the better kama ba. But last week I was a bit worried because Ghanaian Times published a certain figure, and then I think the Graphic also published a certain figure, contracting figures, and I said, how? Contradicting figures say, two state exhibitions, we have published 2 different figures. Yeah, send it so far, the target is 96.
So I think the property rate is a major area as far as the revenue for the district assemblies and the metropolitan authorities are concerned. The system that we have put in place is a system that is supposed to help us to collect these taxes. The first step is the effective identification of the properties. Now, what we have been able to achieve is the fact that we have been able to identify more than 10 million properties compared to what was about 8 million, which was in the census, and even less before it came over. The second thing that has been done is being able to raise the liability on the assessment for these houses and having made it available. And then number 3, you have also to be able to make this online so that people can access.
So you can make payment online?
Yes, you can make payment online.
Okay.
Yes. And we actually encourage that people should make payment online. We don't encourage you to give, in fact, you're not supposed to give money to any person who comes to your house. We are supposed to make all the payments online. But some may take opportunity to make an offer here where say, Ma Obiba Hofia, my manu, Sika. Or so your hands is finished if you have to go online and make the payment online. There are even places, stations where people are talking about making check payment. If you want to make a check payment, go to the bank and pay the check. Today, in GRA, we don't collect fiscal cash. In fact, 2 years ago, we had over 257 tellers in our offices. And we have note counting machines. And people have to go and queue in our offices to pay their taxes. Today, we have gone cashless. And today, people sit in their homes and they pay all their taxes either through Momo, to their Visa card, through bank transfer. And the issues about return checks, reconciliation, and all these things are things of the past. And so we want to emphasize to the general public that we are still on that. Now let me continue on as far as the property rates is concerned. So now that we have established the base, the fourth step is the effective collection. And we have collected so far 20 million Ghana cedis. Now, this in relation to the overall expectation as far as this is very small. Yes. But once you have established the base and you have established the properties and have established it, then the next is the compliance. And there are various mechanisms that we are working out, and I will not want to preempt them, but I'm very, very confident of the mechanisms, and I'm sure once it's come into place, we will be able to increase the collections substantially as far as the property rate is concerned. But I also want to take the opportunity to mention that one of the things as a nation that we need to look at is also the laws on the valuation of the property rates. What happens today, as per the law of Ghana, is that the value of the property upon which the property rate is determined is the replacement value of the property. What do I mean by replacement value? So let's assuming that you have a property in cantonments and you have a property in okay. Let's call what? Okay. If I'm looking at the value of the property, I'm looking at the replacement value, and that's why you see that we are asking you what ceiling, what roof, what tiles. So if you decide to use the same materials to build the house in as well as the one you will build in cantonments, you pay the same property rate. Because we are not using the land value. Not the land value. In the estimation of the property, we are talking about the replacement value of the property. Oh, I see. And so it's something that we need to look at. Yes. If we as a nation, and so it's a recommendation that we are making. And I hope that when it gets to Parliament and other places, and we as a nation, knows, as you said, resistance, we will understand and know that the replacement value for a property in SEO will not give us the expected So that's one thing I also want to take opportunity.
Yes, sorry, but my Mrs. question me here, 24 me kotadia o men be chia almost na so nko yi mon dem free port no mo de kwa na customs be for na Jerry Pennyfo akotwa wo mo na makoti ne manasa meanwhile Jerry Pennyfo e wo port no ma go through strike ni na checks ni na. Why do you do that?
I think that in every organization or in every setup, you put various controls and various measures to ensure that people will comply. And the Commissioner for Customs always cites this example that in your house, you lock all the gates, you still have a wall, you have a gate which is locked. At the same time, you put barbed wire or on it. Then you have dogs, and then you have CCTV. And it's all because you are trying to create second layers of checks. Now, when we come to the port, we have done a lot to improve the port system. And there's something in business that you talked about, effectiveness and efficiency. If you want to be completely effective, sometimes it also hinders efficiency. You understand me? For example, if you say I want to be effective in collecting the taxes, it could mean I should open every container.
Yes.
Then I'll see everything. But the delay. So then that's what I'm saying. So there's always a way of trying to optimize effectiveness and efficiency. You can either optimize efficiency to one point and then you lose effectiveness. For example, you can say that everything that should pass through in 2 minutes pass through. So that's efficient. But then you will end up tax suffering.
Okay.
So there's always a level of honest optimization, trying to see how we can get the best of the two worlds. Okay. So what we are doing is that, all this that we are put in place, we still try to make sure that when people were able to circumvent. Last week, we arrested one of them that had gone through the port at Aflao, and they were carrying textiles. And the textiles that we were carrying, what they had declared at the port was 192 textiles. When we arrested at Dabala, it was 11,600 textiles.
Wow.
But they declared what they had declared at the port. So, for example, so this one we are investigating. If we find any complaints, that there was any staff who also helped, they also be taken account. Number two, there are people who are also conniving and also sometimes misdescribing. Recently, we had a case where an agent has misdescribed shoes, leather bags, clothing and things like that as knapsack sprayer. Knapsack sprayer is an agricultural equipment. By our laws, knapsack sprayer attracts 5% tax, import duty. Shoes and things like that attracts 25%. So then he misdescribed it. And not just is he misdescribing, he has connived with the shipping agency. So the shipping agency has also loaded onto the system a fake bill of lading. So where there is this sort of connivance, you always have to have a second or third layer. So what I want to assure the traders is that these layers are meant to be able to make sure that we collect the maximum revenue for the country. We are not going to harass them. When we meet you and we want to, we'll look at it where you are. We have even assured them that even if it means that we have to take it to your premises, and then we will ensure that we have protection for the staff. We are ready to take it to your premises, and then we'll go and then examine it in your premises. And then there's also the issue about exemptions. When we have exemptions in the country, what people try to do is that they try to misdescribe the things
so they can fit
into the exemption. And so when they do that, then it passes. So these are all some of the reasons why we have to put these layers down. But we are ready to cooperate with them. As we said, if we're doing this and we're not seeing anything, but increasingly we see a lot. And in the last 6 months, we have collected more than 180 million through that approach. And so we just want to encourage them that they should cooperate. When we also find you, we arrest you. In fact, like the one that I've talked about, we have arrested the credit agent We've arrested the importers, and we have also arrested the shipping agents.
What about the terrorists?
Because we haven't been able to detect that. If we detect that the GRA staff is involved.
But the GRA staff was the one who you stationed there at the port.
No, I'm giving you the example of the. Let me give you two examples. The example are the flower. I'm saying that we are yet to make the investigation. If we do the investigation and we find out any GRA staff was there who did not, yes, we will handle the GRA staff. As I speak today, there is a GRA staff that we have arrested on a different matter. So GRA staff are not exempted if they are found to be involved in any unethical things. The one about the NAFTA sprayer, the GRA staff will look at the bill of lading. But if the bill of lading has been loaded by the shipping agency and it's a fake one, it's difficult for you to detect. But in all these things, like I said, we investigate thoroughly. And if you find that GRA staff has involved, we will not let them also go free.
Wow, all too soon we've come to the end of the conversation. So we had a conversation with the Commissioner General of GRA, Ghana Revenue Authority, Reverend Dr. Amishadai Usu Amwa. This is the first time I've come to his office. I have spent about 2 hours here. It's been very invigorating. I think we've learned a lot. If you are out there, so far as you are above 18 years and you earn something, even a gift, you're supposed to have a tax obligation towards the state, because you expect the state to do something for you, street lights and other things. So let us all be tax compliant. And now it's very, very easy and accessible so that we can pay our taxes online. Production has been led by George, and then Alpha, and then the team. George Batra, next time I saw the listing in Amami so that I can mention everybody's name. My name is God Nasar. This is Ghana Rising. We heard us on Catch FM, Nkomo FM, Salt, Okoli, Afni Pajama Radio, Kingdom FM, Glory, Virgin City, Achimansa Radio, Can Radio, Subampa, Diapa, VOV, Sisala, Afima Radio, Bosome, and then Heritage FM. And we are next week, where it's the same time, 2 to 4 p.m. Catch us live, and us, we are out of here.
Get ready for Ghana's ever first syndicated radio show. Introducing Ghana Rising.
There's a growing number of Ghanaians eager to know why government takes certain decisions. Many more want to know what government is doing with the people's mandate and resources. Ghanaians want to know if we are developing or stagnating as a people. The consolidation of our democracy hinges on transparency and accountability.
Ghana Rising premieres on 4th October 2023 and shows this and every Wednesday on ABC News G8.
I'll be demanding accountability and transparency from the people entrusted with our power. My name is Gordon Nasar Bidiako, and I'll be hosting Ghana Rising,
broadcasting across over 20 radio stations across the nation.
Ghana Rising, transparency, accountability, reloaded.
Get ready for Ghana's ever first syndicated radio show. Get ready for Ghana.